folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's been a nice day. It's sunny right now. You can probably see the sun coming through, but the majority of the day was actually fairly cloudy. Just a nice, cool day for a change. It didn't feel like a typical July 1st day. So certainly nothing to complain about today when it comes to the weather. So just enjoying it. I'm sure you're probably thinking, my goodness, turn the lights off. You know, your shirt, it's so loud, it's bright. And I'll mention that here a little bit later. Some of you don't care about it. So I'll be nice and I'll wait till the end of the video. That way, if you want, you don't have to watch it. As far as news, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I really want to hone in on the fact that I'm starting to get a pretty solid feel that World War III is probably just unavoidable at this moment. I mean, I know, I acknowledge that there's a chance that someone or something could step in and happen, and that would change the course of history. But at the place that we are at right now, sorry, let me get my tongue untied. I don't think there's any way to avoid it. And so we have to be getting ready for that. I mean, if you look at the stuff that's going on in multiple places, and I can't tell you where it's going to start. I mean, right now, it looks like it's going to start with Israel and Lebanon. But a couple of weeks ago, it looked like it was more likely in the Russia-Ukraine thing. Who knows? Maybe it's North and South Korea. I don't know. But there's so many hot spots going on right now, and so much tension, and then the whole election here in the United States that would most likely is going to cause Joe Biden to try to do something, got to distract from all of this, regardless of whether he continues to run for office or not. There needs to be some kind of big distraction and a reason to push, far left policies, and a global war would be that. So I think at this point it's just inevitable. We need to realize that it's not just World War III that we're bracing for, because World War III could easily be the catalyst, and I've said this many times before. It could easily be the catalyst to go ahead and finish implementing all of the Agenda 2030 Great Reset things. It's just a way to do it, because everything's bad, everything's destructive, people are dying, diseases everywhere, money's bad because of the war, all of these types of huge problems. And wait a minute, we've got a solution to this. We've got this now. Yes, it's globalist, you're giving up a lot, but man, look what you're getting in return. You're getting this beautiful peace and this unity, and everyone's going to come together and sing Kumbaya. So it's the possibilities of things being bad are certainly there. We have to be getting ready for that, folks. If you're preparing by looking back at the previous two world wars that this country's experienced, I don't think that's close to what it's going to be like. I think we're going to see the strong possibility anymore, and I used to not be this way, but I'm leaning more and more towards the possibility of nuclear war, of World War III this time being an actual nuclear war. It may not be the complete nuclear holocaust that we've all seen in the movies and TV shows, but the possibility of at least one, two, or a few being used, I think, are possible. And so we have to be bracing ourselves for that, for the economic strife, for the general breakdown in our society, because that's going to happen, because our society is so ripe for that already. There's already a breakdown going on. We've got, illegals that's poured into the country, just the general demographics of this nation. I was reading a few days ago. I don't remember all the details, and that's not important. It was comparing, I believe it was from the 1970s, the demographics by state and across the nation, as compared to current. This country has completely changed. It has absolutely completely changed. Multiculturalism, the destruction of family values, traditional values, biblical Christian values, all this stuff has happened over the last 40 or so years. And so we're in such a radically different place as a society than we've ever been. And so you throw on war and potential pandemics and economic collapses and all of these things on top of where we are at right now as a society. I can't think of a bigger recipe for disaster. And so when you're gearing yourself up mentally, physically, and spiritually, this is kind of how you have to be thinking. I'm not saying all this to terrify people. I'm saying this to hopefully cause that light bulb to click on in your head and realize that, yeah, the possibility of really bad things, of catastrophic things happening in the next months and years are getting pretty high, right? And so I need to buckle down. I need to be serious about this. And so that's really why I hit it so hard every day, of just trying to push you guys and myself, because I'm not doing everything perfect by any stretch of the means. Am I doing everything perfect? I need to be preparing myself as much as you do, and I'm trying to do that. And so that's really why I'm doing that. And as a segue to get into the bright, I can see it's reflecting off of the roof of the truck and everything. Get into the bright t-shirt. And if you want to stay with me, because it is connected to what I was just talking about. Our emergency response team, we've started a branch off of it, a unit, I guess you could say, fire rehab. I'm not going to go into great details about what that is. Some of you know what it is. It's basically citizen volunteers, individuals that go out, and if there's some kind of emergency, a fire, a disaster, or whatever, and we're there really to take care of the people addressing this. So if it's firefighters fighting a fire, we're there to take care of the firefighters. Now I'm on the fire department, and so I'm probably going to be one of those firefighters. But the team that we've put together are volunteers. Some of these are retired medical people, other retired professionals, and so they set up. And, they're offering food and water, but they also offer medical care. We've got a few nurses. We have actually a critical care nurse on our team, so we're there to provide very advanced medical care to any of the responders that are handling it. So like I said, if it's a tornado, if it's a flood, if it's a fire, whatever it is. And we've actually been used a few times, and this part that we're doing, it's countywide. And I know that a lot of you still don't get it. Many of you do get it. I get emails from you all the time thinking that, telling how this is, I'm impressed with what you're doing, or this is what we need to be doing. Wish we could do the same thing here, or how do you do that? When all this that I was just mentioning, the first half of the video, starts to really, really settle in, we're not going to be able to depend on government, especially not the federal government, not the state government, and the local governments, which in many places still have pretty decent people, not everywhere, and they're not all great, but the local small communities, they're still run by decent people, and they're going to try, but they need help. They need that support so that those communities don't fall apart. And while you may be prepared really well in your home, you may have an amazing bunker and a completely self-sufficient homestead, but if all the people around you in your community aren't, then you're not nearly as prepared as you think, because now you've got to deal with all of them. And so our philosophy is to focus on these rural communities where there already are a lot of really great people that are already pretty self-sufficient based on modern standards. And for us to volunteer and get in and do various things, working with, stuff like the fire department, or working with the churches and working with local organizations to try to build the strength in our community, instead of just saying, we're just 4 or 5 families and we're going to take care of our own and let everything else burn to the ground. Because honestly, this concept that I speak of, it's really how America has always been. Up until a few decades ago, this was the norm. It was the norm for people in small communities to pull together in times of trouble. You know, you go back and you look at things like the Dust Bowl and the stock market crash and you know, even the Civil War, and going that far back, you can see where small communities went through really awful times and they pulled together, and things were better for everyone because everyone pulled together and worked together. And so that's what we're trying to recreate in small areas and stuff. It may not be possible to do it in a big city or big area, but you know, in the small little rural communities, it's still possible. So that's something that we're doing, and we got T-shirts, and we're going out. We deploy. Just the other night, I was out most of the night assisting another department fighting a structure fire, and got our fire rehab team out there and deployed with us. So they set up, and you know, it was at night, but my goodness, the humidity was awful, and the fire was very, very big. It was a very intense fire. And so you get tired, you get hot, you get wore out, you get thirsty. And so it was great to have our team there, you know, backing up the firefighters. So it also encourages these small communities that there are still good people that care, and there's people that's willing to help. And when I'm a firm believer that kindness is contagious. And when you show kindness and when you show a servant's heart, I believe that it catches on, and more people will want to do it. And in fact, what we have done has proven that, because more and more people do want to get involved. And so I would encourage you out there to consider doing the same thing. And like I said, maybe it's a different area that you want to start. Maybe it's you work with the churches or some kind of school or some other type of organization, or just start your own, you know, taking care of elderly or shut-ins, or there's all kinds of things that can be done. And what it does is it builds strength in the community. It brings the community together. It bonds them together. They're putting emotional you know, capital into their own community. And so when things start to get bad, they want more to take care of that community, to protect it, because it's valuable to them. And that's really how things used to be. And I would encourage you to not get into the mindset that the globalists want you to do, that you just need to stay isolated. You know, keep your distance from other people. Stay isolated in your home, because that's what they've told us to do for years now. Don't buy into that garbage. Get out there and build the area around you, make connections and build relationships, because the stuff that we are going to be going through as a nation, you're going to need it, because it's going to get hard. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.